Melanin endows black people with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities. No, that's not an editorial from The Final Call, Louis Farrakhan's free newspaper. That is a direct quote from the person Joe Biden is about to put in charge of this country's civil rights laws.
Good evening and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he, hims, she, hers. How inclusive of me. Today is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and since it's such a hot topic, I decided to talk about white supremacy. Something weird is going on. White supremacy is being redefined. When I was a young lad and someone said, oh, there's a white supremacist, I pictured a skinhead, maybe with some swastika tattoos. But today, a white supremacist is anyone who disagrees with the left. Far left politicians, specifically members of the Squad, have been throwing around accusations of white supremacy like nothing. AOC has said she wants to acquire funding to deprogram white supremacists, whatever that means. My question is this. Could the normalizing of accusing the right of being white supremacist have consequences? And the answer is, oh yeah. Let's get into it. The two main consequences of normalizing calling your political opposition white supremacist are censorship and then violence. But first, let me explain how it's being normalized. The normalizing is being done by politicians calling other members of Congress white supremacists and then the mainstream media backing them up. For example, Representative Ayanna Pressley had an article written about her in which it said that because of the treasonous and white supremacist members of Congress, she refused to go into the Capitol safe room. What members of Congress are white supremacists? None. Then you have AOC saying that before unity, we must have full accountability and resignation, if not imprisonment, of the members of Congress who backed and enabled President Trump. White supremacist. President Trump, the white supremacist in chief.
Madam Speaker, St. Louis and I rise in support of the article of impeachment against Donald J. Trump. If we fail to remove a white supremacist president who incited a white supremacist insurrection, it's communities like Missouri's 1st District that suffer the most. The 117th Congress must understand that we have a mandate to legislate in defense of Black lives. The first step in that process is to root out white supremacy, starting with impeaching the white supremacist in chief.
Now, you have people who trust AOC, mostly dumb and young people, who are thinking, oh my god, members of Congress are white supremacists? Then they tune into CNN, and what do they hear? It's not just the members of Congress who are white supremacists, it's also all 75 million Trump voters who are white supremacists. Take a look at the dumbest person on TV, Don Lemon, accusing me and 75 million people of being white supremacist.
No, just to explain to you, if you are on that side, you need to think about the side you're on. I am never on the side of the Klan. I am principled people, conservative or liberal, never on the Klan side. Principled people, conservative or liberal, never on the Nazi side.
Never on the Klan side? It seems to me like the Klan is on your side. Didn't Richard Spencer, the actual white supremacist in chief, vote and back Joe Biden? Yep. But go on, Don Lemon. Go on.
Principled people who are conservative or liberal, never on the side that treats their fellow Americans as less than, that says that your fellow Americans should not exist, that says your fellow Americans should be in a concentration camp, or that sides with slavery.
Well, AOC does say we need to deprogram the white supremacists. Where else if not in a concentration camp? But maybe I'm being too cynical. Please, go on, Don Lemon.
Or sides with any sort of bigotry.
Right, and if they say, I don't agree with those people, I just like Trump's policy.
Well, then get out of the crowd with him. Get out of the crowd with him.
I wasn't in the crowd, I just voted for Trump.
You're in the crowd who voted for Trump.
There it is. If you voted for Trump, you're in the crowd of white supremacists. And isn't it cute how Chris Cuomo is acting like he's playing devil's advocate? Yeah, but what if I wasn't in the crowd? Blah, 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 fake news, fake news, fake news. CNN is shameful. It is fake news. But let's allow Lemon Lime to finish talking, because here, we don't censor people.
You voted for the person who the Klan supported. You voted for the person who Nazis support. You voted for the person who the alt-right supports. That's the crowd that you are in. You voted for the person who incited a crowd to go into the Capitol and potentially take the lives of lawmakers, took the lives of police officers.
By that logic, what about the people who voted for Obama? I mean, he gave a speech saying that the police was a racist institution, and then a person went and murdered 6 cops in Dallas. Should we blame it on Obama? Nah. Obama was an angel, basically Jesus 2.0. Another way that the accusations of white supremacy are being normalized is by spreading it to your kids. I mean, everybody knows that real revolutions start by the brainwashing of the youths. The Common App, which is used to process most US college applications, just sent this nice little piece of brainwash to, college applicants, aka your kids. Let's read it. We witnessed a deeply disturbing attack on democracy on Wednesday when violent white supremacist insurrectionists stormed the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to undo a fair and legal election. There was no evidence about white supremacists. There was a Confederate flag. Does that mean that everyone there was a white supremacist? Does that mean that the riot was racially motivated? No. It was mostly a class thing. It's not a race thing. The stark differences between how peaceful black and brown, black is capitalized, of course, protesters had been treated for years relative to Wednesday's coup, again call attention to the open wound of systematic racism. When you brainwash kids, they turn on their family. An 18-year-old in Massachusetts called the FBI and posted on Twitter in order to expose and turn in her mom, aunt, and uncle for being at the Capitol Hill riots. She was very upset with her racist parents because they didn't allow her to participate in Black Lives Matter protests because they could turn violent. What awful parents. You know what cults do? They separate people from their families. This is cultish behavior, and it's sickening. And you know what? We've seen it before. You know where? In the Chinese Communist Revolution, where people were turning in their parents. The Washington Post even wrote a puff piece about this girl, encouraging other people to do the same. Thanks, Jeff Bezos. You're the fucking best. Cori Bush, another member of the Wonderful Squad, attempted normalizing accusing people of being white supremacists by tweeting this. What does it mean when they boo the black congresswoman denouncing white supremacy? It means nothing. You know who else got booed that same day? Congressman Matt Gaetz, white guy from Florida. Ilhan Abdullahi Omar, another member of the Wonderful Squad, tweeted this. And keep in mind, this is in response to an article titled, Biden's aggressive immigration agenda includes a path to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants. Nice. Now that white supremacists aren't creating our immigration policies, we can all be optimistic and fight for progress. Again with the white supremacy bullshit. And it seems like word got around that Biden's going to be taking office soon, and now all the progress that Trump did, stopping the immigration caravans, well, it's reversed. Take a look at this video of a caravan breaking through from Honduras into the Guatemalan border en route to America for Beijing Biden to give them all citizenship. In my opinion, the first consequence of normalizing the white supremacy talk is censorship. By now, we all know that big tech and social media had a purge of conservative accounts, including the President of the United States. But now, you have the left trying to take Fox, Newsmax, and OAN off the air. Take a look at the CNN interview with a former Facebook insider complaining that some conservative YouTubers get more views than CNN and why that must change. By the way, where are my views at? Where are my views at? Subscribe, like, my views. Take a look at the video.
And we have to turn down the capability of these conservative influencers to reach these huge audiences. There are people on YouTube, for example, that have a larger audience than daytime CNN, and they are extremely radical and pushing extremely radical views. And so it's up to the Facebooks and YouTubes in particular to think about whether or not they want to be effectively cable networks for disinformation. And then we're going to have to figure out the OANN and Newsmax problem. That these companies have freedom of speech, but I'm not sure we need Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, and such to be bringing them into tens of millions of homes.
And if you agree with censorship, let me show you this beautiful example. The Serfs is a YouTube channel that got nuked off YouTube. No warnings, no strikes, nothings. They got nuked. And then they were begging for help. Please, somebody help us out. We got nuked. We got censored. It's not fair. The funny thing here is that before they got nuked, the Serfs were pro-censorship. When YouTube, Twitter would ban people, they would say, hey, it's a private company. They can do whatever they like. And then they got banned. They got the axe. The lesson here is first, they come for your opponents. Then they come for you. The second consequence of normalizing white supremacist accusations is violence. We have seen an uptick of black supremacist militias, most notably the NFAC, who are so dumb that last year in 2 different demonstrations they had accidental shootings. Here's a clip of their leader, Young Master J, being a racist.
The solution is very simple. We file a declaration of liberation, declaring every African American descendant of slavery a political prisoner here in the United States and that was affected by the Portuguese slave trade. And then after that, the United States has a choice. Either A, carve us a piece of land out here, we'll take Texas and let us do our own thing, or don't stop us when we exodus out of here and go somewhere where they will give us our own land to build our own nation.
What is your name and what is the...
I'm the official Grand Master J. I created the NFAC.
All right, and how long have the organization been in existence?
We don't give that information out. Just how we'll tell you this, we're all ex-military, we're all very disciplined, we're all expert shooters. We don't want to talk no more. We don't want to negotiate. We don't want to sing songs. We don't bring signs to a gunfight. We're an eye for an eye organization.
He got arrested on federal charges. Sucks to suck. Racist man. Last, I want to mention Kristen Clark, Beijing Biden's choice to lead the DOJ's division on civil rights. Kristen is, how do I put this? Beyond racist. She's even worse than Young Master J. Check this out.
Kristen Clark is Joe Biden's pick to run the Justice Department's enormously powerful Civil Rights Division. Clark says her job is simple. It's to end hate. But like so many in her world, Clark is in fact an enthusiastic purveyor of what she claims to fight. Clark's been on this show several times. A new investigation, though, by our reporters has uncovered shocking, and we don't use that word lightly, legitimately shocking statements that Clark made in public while at Harvard. In 1994, Clark wrote a letter to the Harvard Crimson in her capacity as the president of the Black Studies Association. Clark wanted to explain her views on race science. Quote, "Please use the following theories and observations to assist you in your search for truth regarding the genetic differences between blacks and whites." End quotes. You know it's going to be interesting. And it was. Quote, 1. Dr. Richard King reveals that at the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2. Black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3. Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4. Some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcification rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. And 5. Melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. End quote. Let that sink in. Melanin endows black people with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities. No, that's not an editorial from the Final Call, Louis Farrakhan's free newspaper. That is a direct quote from the person Joe Biden is about to put in charge of this country's civil rights laws.
What a wonderful woman. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and there's a lot of things that we could learn from him. He was a very wise man. And if there's one thing that you're going to take from him, it should be this. With violence, you will not accomplish your goals. In order to do so, you need to win the hearts and minds of the people. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, share. See you next time.